When you wake up every morning and feel that weight pressing on your chest, the doubts in your head whispering that you're not good enough, understand this truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Life isn't handing you a golden ticket. It's testing your hunger, your patience, and your discipline. Too many people scream their dreams to the world, but starve in silence when it's time to put in the work. Real power doesn't need an announcement. It grows in the shadows, away from the noise while everyone else is busy chasing validation. You want to be respected? Then build in silence. You want to be feared? Then grind when nobody's watching. You want to be unstoppable? Then sacrifice the comfort that weak men live for. Because the day will come when the results speak louder than your words, and the world won't have a choice but to recognize what you've created. Move in silence, not because you're afraid, but because your energy is too valuable to be wasted proving yourself to people who don't matter. The storm makes no announcement before it destroys everything in its path. Be that storm. Silence is power. Your results should echo louder than your words. Too many people in this world waste their energy trying to be heard, trying to convince others of who they are, what they will achieve, and how they will dominate. They speak like kings, but work like peasants. They post every small move on social media as if the applause of strangers could somehow build their empire. But the truth is, power never needs to be announced. Power never begs for recognition, and power never screams for attention. Real power is earned in the shadows, forged in sacrifice, and revealed only through undeniable results. Silence is not weakness, silence is discipline. When you learn to move quietly, you train yourself to detach from validation, you free yourself from distraction, and you sharpen your focus on the only thing that truly matters, the work. Every second you spend trying to convince the world of your greatness is a second you take away from building it. While others are loud in their intentions, be loud in your execution. Let them waste their breath while you conserve your fire. You see, silence builds mystery, and mystery builds respect. When people can't read your moves, they start to overestimate your strength. They don't know when you'll strike, they don't know what you're building, and that uncertainty alone is power. The greatest storms announce themselves only when they are already upon you. The same applies to your life. Stop telegraphing your ambitions. Stop feeding your energy to people who secretly hope you fail. Stop explaining yourself to people who will never understand the depth of your vision. If you truly want to dominate, let your work be your voice. The loudest men in the room are often the weakest. They depend on noise to mask their lack of results. The silent man, however, terrifies because he moves with intention. He doesn't need to declare his goals. He simply becomes them. And when his results arrive, they demand attention, they force respect, and they leave no room for debate. Every second in silence is a weapon sharpened, a plan perfected, a weakness eliminated. When you embrace silence, you cultivate patience. And patience is not passive, it is aggressive restraint. It is the art of building without broadcasting, preparing without parading, working without whining. In silence, you discover your true identity because you no longer perform for the world, you perform for yourself. The mirror becomes your judge, not the crowd. That is how champions are made. That is how empires are built. Remember this, words can be doubted, results cannot. You can tell the world that you're disciplined, but if you're out every night drinking, your actions betray you. You can post about hustling, but if you're broke and lazy, your results expose you. You can claim greatness, but if you've achieved nothing, you've already proven yourself wrong. Results silence critics, doubters, and even your own insecurities. They shout louder than your excuses, they echo longer than your promises, and they leave a legacy that no one can ignore. When you understand this, you will stop craving applause and start craving progress. You'll stop telling people about your dreams and start living them. You'll stop needing to be seen and start demanding to be remembered. Silence is power because it makes you immune to distraction. It keeps you untouchable. While the world argues, you're creating. While others chase trends, you're mastering skills. While they spend their nights talking, you spend yours becoming. And when you emerge, when your results hit the world like a hammer, no one will ask for your words. They'll beg for your blueprint. Let your silence be your strategy and your results be your declaration. Because in the end, nobody respects noise, they respect proof. They respect discipline, they respect power. And the most powerful thing you can ever do is let your results echo louder than your words. Discipline in private creates dominance in public. The world only sees the glory, but it never sees the grind. People clap when you succeed, but they weren't there when you bled for it, when you stayed up through the night, when you trained until your body broke, or when you worked alone with no audience and no applause. That's where the real foundation of power is laid. In silence, in solitude, in the hours no one celebrates. Discipline is not about showing off. Discipline is about building a version of yourself that cannot be broken, regardless of who is watching. And when you master discipline behind closed doors, when nobody is checking on you, when nobody is rewarding you, that discipline spills over into every area of your life. That's what creates dominance in public. The man who trains when no one's watching has an edge over the man who trains for the crowd. The crowd-driven man needs motivation, needs eyes, needs validation. But the disciplined man runs his miles in the dark, eats clean when no one cares, studies when no one is testing him, and stays focused when the world is asleep. That man doesn't need recognition. His habits have already built his throne. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about consistency. It's about choosing the hard path when the easy one is tempting. It's about mastering yourself so deeply that you no longer negotiate with weakness. Every private choice, every unseen sacrifice, every decision to stay focused instead of distracted, that is where your dominance is born. Look at history. The warriors, the leaders, the legends. They didn't become great in front of cheering crowds. They became great in the shadows, sharpening their weapons, strengthening their minds, hardening their spirit, long before anyone even knew their name. When they stepped into the arena, into the battlefield, or into the spotlight, their dominance was inevitable because their preparation was unshakable. That's the essence of discipline in private. You aren't performing for applause. You are programming your mind and body to operate at a level most people can't even understand. Most people fail because they are only disciplined when someone's watching. They need accountability from others because they haven't built it within themselves. But true discipline is internal. It's doing what you said you'd do, even when nobody will know if you quit. That kind of discipline is rare, but it is the foundation of greatness. When you master it, you can walk into any room, any situation, any challenge with complete confidence because you already know you've put in the work. That's why disciplined men dominate. They don't hope for success. They expect it because they've earned it in the silence of their own grind. Discipline in private also builds character. It makes you reliable, not just to others, but to yourself. When you keep your promises in silence, you start to trust yourself at a level that others can't match. That self-trust is power. It makes you fearless because you know that no matter the challenge, you've already proven to yourself that you can endure more than most people will ever attempt. And when you walk into public, when the lights are on, when the pressure is real, that internal strength becomes external dominance. People can feel it, they can sense it. They may not know what you've done to get there, but they see the results, they feel the presence, and they respect the authority. Discipline in private also eliminates excuses. Because once you've built the habit of doing what must be done without external pressure, excuses lose their grip. You no longer care about comfort because you've trained yourself to thrive in discomfort. You no longer care about distractions because you've trained your focus to cut through the noise. You no longer care about recognition because your mission is greater than applause. That's the type of mindset that dominates in public because while everyone else is waiting for the perfect moment, the disciplined man has already created it. Every great fighter, every great leader, every great creator has lived this truth. They may look untouchable when they step on stage or into the spotlight, but their dominance comes from the thousands of hours they gave to the process when no one was watching. It comes from waking up early when they didn't feel like it. It comes from pushing themselves when nobody was forcing them. It comes from sacrificing comfort again and again until their mind and body became weapons. That's what makes them unstoppable. Discipline is the bridge between potential and power. Everyone has dreams, but only the disciplined bring them to life. Everyone wants dominance, but only the disciplined build it brick by brick when the world isn't looking. When you train yourself to be relentless in private, the world has no choice but to acknowledge your dominance in public. Because by then, you're not pretending to be great, you are great, forged in silence, proven by results, and untouchable by anyone who wasn't willing to suffer like you did. Validation is weakness. Focus on legacy, not approval. Most people spend their lives begging for attention, desperate for likes, compliments, and applause from people who don't even care about them. They live as slaves to opinions, chained to the need for approval. And what happens? They never build anything meaningful because their energy is wasted on performance instead of progress. Validation is a drug. It feels good in the moment, but it weakens you. It tricks you into thinking you're achieving something when all you've done is feed your ego. True strength comes from detachment, from building without needing praise, from walking your path with no concern for whether anyone claps. Because in the end, approval dies with the moment, but legacy outlives your existence. Think about it. The applause you crave today will be forgotten tomorrow. The people cheering for you will move on to the next distraction, the next trend, the next idol. If your fuel is their validation, then your power dies the moment their attention shifts. That is weakness. But legacy is untouchable. Legacy is the impact you leave, the empire you build, the standard you set that echoes even when you are gone. Legacy isn't about being seen, it's about being remembered. And the men who are remembered are the ones who chose purpose over approval, discipline over applause, and creation over validation. When you focus on validation, your decisions are corrupted. You make choices not because they are right, but because they are popular. You shape your life to please the crowd, and in doing so, you lose yourself. You become predictable, weak, and empty. But when you focus on legacy, your decisions are driven by principle, by vision, by what will last beyond you. You stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, will this matter 10 years from now, 50 years from now, after I'm gone? That question alone separates the weak from the strong, the forgotten from the immortal. Validation is a cheap currency. Anyone can buy it with noise, with lies, with performance. But legacy is priceless, and it can only be earned with consistency, sacrifice, and truth. Most people won't understand your mission when you're building legacy, and that's fine. They're not supposed to. Legacy builders walk alone. They don't explain themselves, they don't beg for support, and they don't care for applause. Their satisfaction comes from the work itself, from knowing they are building something that will stand when everything else is crumbled. Look at every great leader, every innovator, every warrior whose name still carries weight centuries after their death. Do you think they wasted time begging for validation? Do you think they cared whether the crowd approved of their sacrifices? No. They were hated, doubted, mocked, even resisted. But their focus was never approval. It was vision. It was destiny. It was the drive to build something greater than themselves. That's why they became legends while their critics vanished into dust. When you chase validation, you live small. You play safe. You never risk offending, never risk failing, never risk standing alone. But greatness demands risk. Legacy demands you walk a path that few understand. And yes, it will be lonely. Yes, it will be uncomfortable, but that's the price of building something eternal. Weak men choose validation because it's easy. It gives them a taste of significance without the work. Strong men choose legacy because they would rather be hated now and remembered forever than loved briefly and forgotten instantly. The truth is, nobody will remember your likes, your followers, or your applause. What they will remember is what you built, how you lived, and the impact you left. Legacy is not about what people think of you. It's about what changes because of you. It's the book you write, the empire you create, the example you set, the standard you raise. And the only way to build that is to stop feeding off validation and start fueling yourself with purpose. Validation weakens you because it makes you dependent. Legacy strengthens you because it makes you independent. When you are free from approval, nothing can be used against you. Criticism can't break you. Doubt can't stop you. Hatred can't touch you. You are untouchable because your mission is bigger than opinion. And when you live that way, the world may resist you now, but it will respect you later. The same people who laughed at you will one day speak your name with reverence. Not because you pleased them, but because you proved them wrong by leaving something they could never ignore. So stop asking for validation. Stop living for approval. Both are traps designed to keep you small. Instead, build for legacy. Every choice you make, every habit you form, every sacrifice you commit to, ask yourself, does this feed my legacy? If the answer is yes, then move forward without hesitation. If the answer is no, cut it off. The applause will fade, but the impact will echo. And when your time is done, the world will not remember who approved of you. They will remember what you built, who you became, and the fire you left behind. That is true power. That is legacy. And when it's all said and done, when the noise fades, when the opinions of others no longer matter, what will remain is the truth of what you built. Nobody will care who liked your posts. Nobody will remember who doubted you. And nobody will even recall the applause that once felt so important, but they will see the work, the results, and the legacy you left behind. That is why validation is weakness. It is temporary, fragile, and dependent on the emotions of others. Legacy is strength. It is permanent, undeniable, and carved into history by your actions. Every second you waste chasing approval is a second stolen from building something that will outlive you. You weren't born to beg for recognition. You were born to create impact. You were born to prove, not through words, but through results that you cannot be ignored. So walk your path with fire in your heart and silence in your steps. Build relentlessly, live with purpose, and focus only on what will last. Let them talk now, let them doubt now, because when your legacy arrives, it will silence them all. And that echo will be louder than any applause you ever chased.